morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And thank you especially to Jackie and Tom and the crew there. Thank you for inviting me. We're going to have a lot of fun this morning. You know, I'm a person who likes to work with my hands. Are anybody else in that kind of So I thought we'd get started by making something. So I'd like to have everybody take a piece of this foil, and we're going to make some jewelry right now. So this is going to take a minute. This is Michael David Sterling and his wife, Cropperat. And let's see if we can get this foil out there. Maybe you could actually grab some and just pass it out quickly. I'd like everybody to take a piece of this stuff. And if you were in my design class yesterday, you're now an expert at this. So yeah, you could just give a bit to each row, pass it down. It's nice and crinkly. It's going to make a lot of noise. And what I'd like you to do when you get this stuff is make a ring. I want everybody to make a ring. Think about it a little bit because the material is interesting. It's got silver on one side, gold on the other. It has a lot of nice qualities to it. It'll pick up textures. You can fold it. You can pleat it. You can add it, twist it, smash it. So what I'd like to do is give everybody a couple of minutes to make a ring, and then we'll put them aside, and we'll get on with the talk. Can you listen while you work? Yeah. So let's talk about jewelry design for just a second. There are three truths to jewelry design, or three truths to design. The first is that design adds value. That we make selections and we choose things because of the design of the objects that we see. The second truth is that design can be learned through study and practice. And the third truth is that the way to add value to your work is to learn design. This is something that you can do without really investing any money in your work. So, is there anybody who still needs foil? Okay. So make a ring. When I first got interested in making jewelry, I wanted to know everything there was about it. Of course, my first interest was in making jewelry, but I also wanted to know where jewelry came from. Who had the first idea to make and wear jewelry? So I did some research. And I came up with two possible explanations of how jewelry came about. I'm going to tell you both stories, and you can decide for yourself which one is right. Here's the first version. Adam and Eve were walking in the Garden of Eden. It had been an especially lovely day in the garden. Both of them were feeling pretty good. In fact, they were feeling great. They had just eaten a nice lunch of fresh fruit on the grass and had taken a lovely nap together. So they were strolling along, and Eve, or perhaps it was Adam, spotted an unusual shell by his foot on the ground. It was right under the apple tree, where they stopped for a moment to appreciate all that was around them. And of course, Adam agreed that the shell was very beautiful, and he said to Eve, "Let me run a strand of grass through this hole in the shell, and you can wear it to remind us of this lovely day and this beautiful garden." So that's the first story. Here's version 2. Adam and Eve were walking in the Garden of Eden one day. It had been an especially lovely day. And Adam or Eve perhaps spotted the same unusual shell on the ground. And Adam agreed with Eve that the shell was very beautiful. And he said to Eve, "You're right again, Eve." That shell must be worth at least 4 bananas. Let's look around. There must be more bananas around here. We can take them to the market and trade our jewelry for bananas. Well, of course, it was the first story that rings true. Originally, jewelry was purely for adornment, but that was long ago and far away. Now jewelry is a commodity. that's traded for dollars, euros, rupees, and bananas. To tell you the truth, in my opinion, commercialism has ruined jewelry. You all with me here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was drawn to making jewelry because of my basic desire to make stuff. I discovered early that I liked working with my hands. My mother, who was very artistic, called me a fiddler, with good reason. No matter where I was, my hands were always moving, feeling, exploring, rubbing, twisting, fixing, making, creating, drawing, and later sculpting, and later making jewelry. I've always been a maker, and I was drawn to metal right away because of its shiny surface and malleable quality. Jewelry seemed the perfect medium for me as an artist. I love working in gold and silver, as well as in platinum and even copper and brass. It doesn't matter to me, I just like working with my hands, and metal is the perfect medium. Now I've been making jewelry for about 40 years, as you'll see in my bio lecture tomorrow. Between 1972 and 1995, I made and sold thousands of pieces of jewelry out of my studio. I always gave away a few gifts, but I never really thought much about my legacy in that regard. And then a few small events took place, and I got to thinking about what I do and where I'm headed. I came to a place where I thought, you know, I make very nice things, and it's kind of a shame that my close relatives and my friends haven't bought something from me. And then I thought about the rest of my family and my closest relatives. Many of them do not have anything that I've made. And that led directly to the realization that I should give away more jewelry. I felt I needed to do it right away, not put it off. As a matter of fact, at that moment, I decided that I should make things for everyone I love. And soon, for a lot of reasons, some of which I will list later. As it turned out, I want to ask, is this microphone okay? Can I step back a little bit? Can you hear me from here?
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, as it turned out, I was about to go to visit some relatives in Florida, whom I hadn't seen in several years. I have 2 half-sisters and a bunch of nephews and nieces there whom I hardly know. But these kids all know that their uncle is some kind of famous jeweler in California. They range in ages from 6 to 12, and of course none of them has any real jewelry at this point. And they don't have anything that was made especially for them. So before I left, I decided to make a piece of jewelry for each of my nephews and nieces. I made a pendant out of silver to hang on a cord. Each pendant is unique. I took some scrap silver and fused it into a ball on a charcoal block. Then I flattened it out and rolled it, adding a texture to the front. I pierced and overlaid a stylized initial for each child in 18-karat gold. Then my hallmark and quality stamps went on the piece. I spent almost a day in the studio and had a blast making them. I was motivated by the anticipation of the kids opening their gifts. The experience of making with my hands, and in this case, knowing the recipients, was exhilarating. I hung each one on a simple cord and wrapped them individually, adding a short note. Shortly after I got to Miami, I brought out 4 little boxes with bows and everything stopped. The kitchen emptied as my family gathered around to see what I had brought. As I presented each gift, I explained that I made them specifically for each recipient. I also explained how I made it, which added to the interest and implied value. I made one with a Z for Zach. Let's see. Good. A Z for Zach. I made one with a K for Kobe. I made one with a T for Taylor and an S for Sydney. When they opened them up and put them on, each child glowed.